Good morning. The Health Secretary is set to announce if any regions in England will change tiers before COVID rules are relaxed over the festive period. Wales is adding an extra 11,000 positive coronavirus tests to its figures today after revealing that system maintenance had led to a significant underreporting. The French President Emmanuel Macron has tested positive for COVID-19. The United States is expected to unseal charges against another suspect in the 1988 Lockerbie airline bombing, which killed 270 people, according to US media. 3 people have died in car crashes as a powerful snowstorm sweeps across the east coast of the United States. That's the news. We're back tonight at 7 and at lunchtime again tomorrow. Also tonight, tears of...
So, more than two-thirds...
Well, earlier I spoke to Professor Helen Stokes-Lampard, Chair of the Royal College of General Practitioners, and I started by asking her which parts of the NHS were under the most strain. You talked about pressure in London on the intensive care units, how close to capacity are, if you can be specific about different trusts or different parts of the capital. We've had 2 national lockdowns in England. We've got the tier system. Is any of it working, given you're saying in some parts of the country it is actually worse than the first wave now? What needs to change? Is it people's behaviour, taking personal responsibility for their action, or does the government need to be tougher, for example, over these Christmas restrictions, where they've kind of said, well, you know, you can do all this stuff over Christmas, but we advise you not to?
So we try and balance these.
Prioritise your physical health or your mental health, because the two are in tension as to whether you meet people over Christmas.
They are
about that. I mean, you dearly hope to visit them. How you came to that conclusion, because I think all of us are wrestling with this right now. Professor Stokes-Lampard there talking to me earlier. And there is an immediate crisis facing Welsh hospitals too, as they struggle to deal with record numbers of patients being admitted with COVID. Earlier, I spoke to the Executive Medical Director of the Swansea Bay Health Board, Dr. Richard Evans, and I started by asking him about the scale of the pressure hospitals in Swansea are under.
700 people per 100,000 population are currently getting infected. That might
talk about being in a precarious situation. What does that mean in real terms? What are you worried about that might start happening now?
Well, we're already, and added to that, of course, particularly where there's a higher rate of community transmission. They are fatigued during...
What kind of patients are you seeing now? Is it mainly elderly still, or are there other age ranges represented?
So the hospital capacity and what...
You talked at the beginning of this interview about the sheer scale of infection that you're witnessing. It's not that long, just about 5 weeks or so, since the end of the lockdown in Wales. Now there's talk of another lockdown, December 28th. Are these lockdowns actually working?
I think...
Dr. Richard Evans, thanks very much for joining us. Very wise words there. Well, in Greater Manchester, there is huge disappointment that the strict COVID restrictions they've been living with for months are not being changed, even though infection rates have fallen significantly. But there will be some extra help for those hardest hit by all the restrictions. The Chancellor has extended the UK furlough scheme by another month to the end of April. Our North of England correspondent Claire Fallon reports. Now, it's understood that Northern Ireland is on the verge of announcing another lockdown. The Northern Ireland Executive is meeting at Stormont tonight. Now, secondary school students in England won't all be starting the new term next year at the same time. The government wants some of them to be taught online for the first week so that schools can get prepared for mass testing. The new tests are aimed at keeping transmission at a minimum, but teaching unions say teachers have been landed with a confused and chaotic mess at the 11th hour. Our political correspondent Liz Bates reports. Now, a new suspect in the Lockerbie bombing could soon face charges in the United States, according to media reports. It's thought that US prosecutors are trying to seek the extradition of a Libyan man suspected of making the bomb which blew up the Pan Am passenger jet in 1988, leaving 270 people dead. From Washington, Kate Fisher reports. Fatima Manji reporting. Now, from getting a third-class degree in chemistry to inventing what could be the world's first zero-plastics bottle, it's been quite a journey for James Longcroft. He's even blown up his own kitchen a few times during his quest to create a fully biodegradable bottle. He now hopes his design can help to reverse the plastic pollution which is choking our planet. Our chief correspondent, Alex Thompson, has more.
All we have time for this evening. We'll be back at 7 tomorrow night.
Until then, that's Channel 4 News. Good evening.